Hey y'all, we're back out in the garage here real quick. Still the 18th of December on Friday. My toes are freezing, so we're going to wrap it up. Buddy Chuck just stopped by. How you doing, Chuck? Hey, thanks for he gave us a new sound system for the trailer since we're doing the updates to the trailer. He gave us a subwoofer and 4 speakers and some crazy radio with a CD player and all that. Chuck, he's crazy. So yeah, and some 2-part foam. He must be watching the videos. So enjoy. We're playing around today. After we're done with the old zip cart here, this is going to be a short-term little project I'm going to play with between the paint getting done on the zip cart, the tanks, and all that stuff, and doing really getting heavy duty working into the F-125. As we're working on this, we're going to have other things to do. So this is the RVS intake isolator, what we call an isolator, or what the Italians call an isolator. It bolts onto the front of the motor, where there's a reed cage, and then the flange and the motor itself, and it gets bolted all together. We're going to use the big carb. We're going to try the big carb. And before we get too far, not sure what I'm going to do about the RVS. What I think I'm going to do, I can't get a conveyor for this. And a conveyor, for you guys who don't deal with Italian stuff, is what you would call a stuffer. That's just the plastic insert that goes into the reed cage, the inside of the reed cage, to help the flow of fuel and air go from the carb through the intake and through the reeds, instead of just tumbling into an empty reed cage, right? The backside of an empty pyramid, so to speak. So it's called a conveyor. The official name that the Italians gave it is a conveyor. So what I'm going to do is probably take the one out, because I've only got one for the RVS, and I've only got the one for the RVXX. I can buy a new one of these for the RVXX, the conveyor, the stuffer. Can't get one. Can't find one for the RVS. So I think what I'm going to do with both of these, instead of buying one, is I'm going to make them. And I'll bring you some of that video as well. What we're going to do is a silicone mold. We'll take the existing parts and we'll suspend them in a little box, right? And we'll pour silicone around them and make a silicone mold. Same way you would replicate a turn signal or a taillight lens or something for an old car, an old Harley or an old bike or an old Triumph or whatever, something that you just can't find those parts anymore and you have to make it yourself. There are ways of doing that. And it's all part of the prototype thing. Automotive prototypes, they do that kind of stuff. I know Francis has done it out at the Tech Center, GM, when he was working out there. He's done some lenses and stuff like that. So same basic principle. What we'll do is we don't have a 3D printer. If we had a 3D printer, we'd be in, right? We could just digitize the old one and then just cut us up a new one in no time. But what fun would that be, man? We're gonna get to make some silicone molds and make some new parts. And with the new ones, we'll make sure they sand them down, make sure they fit into the reed cages real well, just like the originals. And then what we're going to end up doing is we'll save the originals. Is what you see here is what we've got going on here. It matches up with the inside of the conveyor of inside the reed cage. Now this is for a 30 millimeter carburetor, right? That inside hole is all you're going to get, and we've got 39 millimeters on the back side of this one here, where it's going to bolt right up to these flanges, right on the actually, if this is the top, all the fuel lines and pump lines will come this way. This is the driver's side, throttle, and your needles. You want the needles pointing toward the driver, probably in a way where the clutch cable is going to come in through here. I've already kind of looked at it on the RVXX in the house. But so we're going to have to go from 39 millimeters. And this is the nice thing about the RVXX, is it's already really close. This is 38. This is the gasket sealing surface. The little ridge on the isolator for the RVXX has a just like this has got a square ridge it's got a round ridge, and it seals right to the isolator on the reed cage. So front side being 39 millimeter, right? If it's on the engine like this, and this is the engine and the reed cage is here, we're going to go from 39 to basically 36 or 37, whatever that circle is, just inside this ridge on the RVXX, without changing the conveyor, right? If we make new conveyors, then we can go ahead and we'll go 39, and we'll open up the conveyor to 39, and it won't start tapering down into the reed cage until it gets into the conveyor. So this would be a straight through 39 millimeter hole. Yeah, if we were just going to try this carburetor with the conveyors that we have without altering the conveyors, so if this thing doesn't work the way we want it to, we could always go back to the 30 millimeter Delotro carb. What we would do is we would go from 39 millimeter on this side, on the front side, and then we would go to this shape on the back side. So around to a square, you follow what I'm saying? And it's basically, you're going to get out one of these here. It's called a rotary file or a rotary burr. After you bore it out with a big drill bit first, and you're going to get in here and you're going to get the razor sharp shards are going to be flying. But I'll bring you all of that. I'll bring you all of this metal work. This is 3/4 inch aluminum. It's a piece of a gauge base or something, I think. I cut it out on Rich's bandsaw. It's cut real nice. We actually blade filed this entire thing. I haven't taken a file or a sanding disc or anything to this thing yet. Just ran it around the saw blade. As the bandsaw was running, let me give you a quick peek here. Say the bandsaw was running like this, and what you do is you just run this thing right along the edge. And there's a bit of a science to it. We learned this in prototype as well, doing not stretch bending, but the die when we pull metal through dies and shape the metal into different sections for whatever, like the little felt and rubber deal that wipes the water off your door glass on your car when you roll the window up and down. Inside of there's a piece of stainless steel that the rubber is extruded onto, and that's what you would do. It's called section, and so that's how we learned how to do the blade file. So I did it all with a blade, and we're 80% done already. So what we'll do is we'll take the intake from the motor in the house, and we'll clamp these things together, and we'll use a transfer punch, the right size, and we'll go ahead and punch, and we'll make sure we drill correctly the first time. And then it's just making the big hole fit the small hole, or make the big hole fit the big hole on the backside on the new conveyors that we're going to make. I really don't want to make 4 of these, one for the small carb conveyor, one for the big carb conveyor. I'd rather just make new conveyors, because it doesn't make any sense to crash 39 millimeters worth of fuel and air into a 30 millimeter pass through. We're going to need to open that up, even though we're not opening it up all the way to the tip of the reeds, to the tip of the conveyor, just the initial first bit of it. You still don't want the air crashing into a ledge, so to speak. So I know this is all hard to probably imagine in your head, but yes, it's part of the problem we have here is I know exactly what I'm thinking, and you guys are just going to have to wait for the next video. Well, that's it. We're going to work on a little intake stuff for the big carb. Just playing around, burning some time. We also got Lamar's project. I have not forgot about you, Lamar. I'm trying to get, through this paint stuff here now. I can get over to Rich's house and set up what I need to do to make up a custom little piece of fiberglass for our buddy Lamar over there in Maryland. We didn't forget about you. We're trying to squeeze you in between gigs over here at RPM. So that's it. all this getting done, this motor, the RVS, is still on the cart in the back over in the trailer. So, yeah, we're going to have to get over there and take a side panel off. And I think we have to actually undo the motor mount from the cart and loosen the motor mount from the motor just to get this isolator off because of the angle that it's on. As you can see, it literally sits like this, and the motor mount sits right underneath it. You won't be able to get those bolts out. So, a bit of work, but it's cool. We'll wait till we start casting our own little conveyors from silicone molds. It's pretty cool stuff. That's it from RPM on this December 18th. It's a Friday. Keep your chin up, folks. It'll get better. It'll get better. Hang in there. We're praying for you. God bless you all. Godspeed.